Hello everybody and welcome to the latest CADS podcast. We're here to talk about the West Ham game. A game where goals were scored, bubbles were burst and refs' reputations were irrevocably damaged. Let's talk about it all. I'm joined tonight by Ash and David. I'm told that Austen will be joining us later on. We'll see if he manages it and if he's alone, because we know how that goes sometimes. But hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, it's great, thanks. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Enjoyed that much.
Ash?
Yeah,
how you doing, Ash?
Lovely. Now that we're going to be playing 2 games a week, and hopefully successfully playing 2 games a week, it's could be a nice spell coming up.
Well, let's see how it goes. 2 games a week has not generally worked out very well for us in terms of league position. It's done great in terms of European performances, but let's see how it goes. Let's talk about the game against the Hammers. General feelings. How happy is everyone feeling?
Well, I think that was fantastic because he was forced, I think, to arrest Richie because he'd played in Bolivia, I think, at 4,000 meters altitude and wasn't really in any fit state to be playing football. And we know that at this stage in his career, Tell's not ready. And I just imagine what that match would have been like with a proper striker, a senior striker on the field. I think we would have seen quite a different outcome yesterday, a much larger scoreline, to be honest. We were vastly superior. I'd also like to say that it was a very complete refereeing display yesterday, by which I mean completely fucking useless.
Completely shit.
Yeah. No, but brilliant. Absolutely delighted.
Ash, what did you think?
Well, just to underscore what Dave just said about the refereeing, I think Madison, recovery from his ACL, just called them out, both the refs and VAR, and I thought that's fucking great. I don't know if he will be fined or whatever. I don't know how that works. Anyway, what I did like about the game and the games so far is that you guys have this. I never used it when I was younger. Horses for courses, and I think our manager is one of those gentlemen who will play horses for courses. And for instance, as Dave just said, resting Bentancur as well,
True.
as well as Richie, and I think he will, and playing Polinia, playing Bergvall so yeah, he's rotating, and I like that. Be interesting to see. He'll probably make about 3 or 4 rotations. I am interested in whether or not how much that Romero and Van de Ven can actually play, if they will even be doing 2 games a week, or one of them will shift out and they'll do 45 minutes. The other one does the other 45 minutes with Danso coming in. Interesting to see. I love the flexibility that Frank is showing.
Yeah, I enjoyed much of the game. I was somewhat vexed by the performance of the referees, as a lot of people were. I did think they were really piss poor, frankly. Just watching the first goal get disallowed, which we're definitely going to talk about. In fact, let's talk about it now. Romero's goal was disallowed because Van de Ven bundled into Cold Walker Peters, who fell over. Right now, if you just put it like that, it looks like a very obvious and very reasonable decision to rule the game out for a foul, correct? But
yeah, well, yeah, except you don't. Yeah, okay.
You take it back a few frames. Van de Ven was pushed by a defender into Kyle Walker-Peters, which ended up knocking over Kyle Walker-Peters, which left Romero with a free header. So the original foul was on Van de Ven, and yet somehow they managed to work it out that he was the player at fault.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I completely agree, Stu, and I'd go even further than that. If VAR is looking at what happened during that corner, there's probably about 2 other places where they could give a penalty just on that corner with arms around players holding them down and things like that. So if you're giving a foul for Van de Ven, which of course it never was, well then you've got to give a foul in the other direction as well. I mean, absolutely. So either give us the goal or give us a penalty.
Yeah, because the player who pushed into Van de Ven had his arms around him. I mean, it was almost a bear hug. So if that isn't impacting his ability to go for the ball, I don't know what is.
Yep.
If they showed the replay, like the dominoes, and go back a few dominoes, the goalie actually pushed his player into Van de Ven,
Yeah,
who then was pushed into
Carl
Walker
Walker
Peters,
Peters.
fell over like
Yeah.
a domino, you know. So yeah, and Dave's right. I mean, it could happen on every single play. And then when Van de Ven was held later on, why didn't we get that penalty? You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
Van der Ven wasn't held later on. Van der Ven had the best executed judo throw I've seen since the Olympics, frankly.
Yeah.
Because the guy yanked him over and basically pulled him down onto his shoulders. I was like, okay, that has to be a penalty. And they look at it and nothing. And this is the thing that bugs me about VAR. They said, oh, VAR has been brought in to ensure that no bad decisions are made. Well, there are two bad decisions that were made. Just evident bad decisions. And it's not just us saying it. You know, yes, we as fans are biased. Let's accept that we're biased. But other people in the game are saying it as well. People who are not fans, people who look at it and say, come on, that should have been a goal. I mean, Jason Cundy on TalkSport said that should not be ruled out. And if Jason Cundy is backing us, then clearly we have to be in the right. Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
What do we
Uh,
do about it? It just seems like the level of expertise for refereeing and also VAR is just never going to quite cut it. I mean, how do you raise that level?
I don't know. I think I saw on social media today, somebody made what I would consider to be actually a fairly sensible step, right? So what you do is you actually ban the referees in Burton or wherever it is they're watching the St George's Park from watching the game. They don't watch the game as it goes on. What happens is you have someone who clips up the section that they need to view, and you say to them, what is your decision on this as a referee? So they don't get to see the preamble and they don't get told what the referee's decision is. They just get told, here they get shown the clip and they say, what is your opinion about it? And if it lines up, then fantastic. The game carries on. If it doesn't, then the referee is asked to look at the monitor and make a decision again. That
yeah.
seems to me the best way of doing it.
Yeah, we can take away Jed's yellow card as well while we're at it.
Yeah, well,
Ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. I mean, tonight I watched a little bit of the Manchester derby, and I saw Bernardo Silva rugby tackling a player who was in a very promising attacking position, and there was a foul, but there wasn't a yellow card. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It just doesn't make any sense. There is, apart from being consistently shit, there is no consistency at all in refereeing decisions across games, within the same game. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough at all. I don't know what we need to do. I think that hopefully, perhaps Vinay, because I think the club's always been very quiet, much quieter than other clubs about bad refereeing decisions, and
yeah.
I would quite like us to kick up a stink and I think I said that about Ange last season, that he didn't put pressure on referees when he should have, because when you go out and you kick up a stink and you get a fine or maybe probably get a fine or whatever. Okay, you get a fine, but next week the referees, they know that they're being watched. They know that they're being watched and they have to react. And I thought Thomas Frank's statements afterwards were too polite. They were too polite.
He is a very polite gentleman.
Yeah, but
I don't get the thing he's blood and thunder kind of guy.
Yeah, but I think we have to put the boot in on the refs sometimes. And I always say at this level it's very fine margins. If you make the referees have a second guess themselves, you get decisions going your way. And that's not what happens with us.
The guy with the fairly big guy with the bald head, that's the player liaison officer, I think. We see him occasionally, who I believe is Daniel Levy's cousin or something like that. No idea how he got that job, but maybe he's the one that we should get on the referees, because he's a fairly big guy and slightly imposing. So maybe he is exactly the kind of person we need to put in charge of referee liaison. Yeah. Let's see.
But maybe, or Vinay or somebody from the club or a club thing. I mean, Nottingham Forest made absolute fools of themselves. Was it last season or the season before?
Last season, yeah. That
was ridiculous. But Mourinho was a master digging out referees, and I don't necessarily want to take many things from his playbook, but I do think that's the sort of thing that he's very good at, and it all these little increments add up. There you go.
Well,
I'd rather us put the boot on referees than do long throws.
yeah.
We're still doing those.
Don't you think they do a better job in rugby than they do in football? Of course, the refs are mic'd up. They do have, I don't know if they call it VAR, but they have instant replay watching. I think they do a better job. Why is that? And are there any aspects to the way that the rugby games are refereed that could be applied to football?
There's a couple of things there, though. One of them is that I think there's, I don't like to say it, but I think in rugby it's a little bit more fair play. You don't get simulations, and I mean, you kick the ball straight out for a throw in, and you still raise your hand claiming the throw in for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just football. They're all chiselers, they're all chiseling all the time. And I think that sort of very confrontational lying game means that it's almost impossible to have the same relationship between referees and players as they do in rugby. Because I think the referees in rugby, they're very pedagogical. Is that the word? Pedagogical. They're very
teacher-like.
They're teaching, they're talking through what's happening, they're explaining what's going to happen. I mean, they're even giving warnings before things happen. You're going to be offside there if you do that,
So could any of that be applied? By the way, good point about the chiseling. And that could come from football being a working class origins in working class people.
Well, you think working class people are less honest than non-working class people, actually?
Hello, here we go.
I plead the fifth. Anyway, I was thinking that well, why can't they? And if not, if nothing's going to be done, this is going to just continue. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys saw what Madison had said, from his recovery bed, and he was pretty forthright and honest about it, and saying, I can't remember the exact word. I don't know if he actually said shit, but he said something pretty close to this is crap, and it's been from the beginning of the season, and he didn't specify just Spurs.
I'm just thinking out loud. I think clubs should be able to have 2 appeals per match, not in match time, because you've got to let the match go on. VAR is supposed to handle that, but they should be able to have 2 sort of trials, where basically you get the referees in, you get the club in, or both clubs in, and you take them through the play and you explain why you don't agree what the referee did, and there's a proper exchange about why they made that decision and why it was the wrong decision. Because as I understand it, there isn't any dialogue between clubs and the referees, really.
So you're talking about doing that in live action, like they do in the...
No, you can't do it in the match, because I mean, there's already too many hold-ups. But in the week after, the club has the right to go, and there's like a tribunal where they're going to go, we had this decision and that decision, and we're calling it out, and there's a proper discussion about what happened.
But how does that?
I believe the referees go round to the clubs before. Hang on, Ash. I believe the referees go round to the clubs before the start of the season, and they talk to the players and say, right, these are the changes that are going to be brought in over the following season. But for me, I think the difference is between rugby referees and football referees is it starts from the youth, right? You are taught when you play rugby, you are taught you respect the referee, you listen to what he says, and you don't give him any back chat. Right, and you don't get parents on the sideline screaming abuse at him.
Right.
Right. When you're playing football, it's not completely different, but as a player, you can have a little bit of a grumble here and there, and occasionally words can be said, but there's always somebody on the sideline screaming bloody murder at the ref and basically not respecting the ref. And it is about respect. You've got to give the ref respect. They need to earn it as well. And I think incidents like yesterday do not help when it comes to earning respect. but it starts from your very early days where if you are taught you do not backchat a referee and you have to, you have to stick to that, otherwise you are going to be hauled off the field, which when I played rugby, that's what we were told. If I see you backchatting the referee, you will not play another minute for me this year.
Yeah.
Do you think that do you think that still goes on to, I don't know if any of your kids play rugby. Do you think any of that still goes on today, where it is sort of that respect is still ongoing? That'd be interesting. I don't know.
My kids don't play rugby yet. I'm not even sure if that's called rugby. I mean, I'm over here in France. We're more football and golf.
Yeah,
I think there
in
might be
this part
golf.
of France, yeah.
Yeah, but it's. I would suspect that in the UK there's still that level of respect for the rugby
Great.
referees because it was ingrained. It was ingrained. It was something you are taught almost day one. Is the referee, what he says goes, and you respect it. And you just don't get that when it comes to referees in football. So I don't think it helps that with VAR the power has been taken away from the referee to a certain aspect. Right? They used to say, "Oh, referees get 99% of calls." Correct. This was before VAR. Turns out that was a load of rubbish. They did a survey and they actually, or a test, and looked back through numbers. They found they got 82% of calls correct, and now they get 96% correct. So there's still that 4% of errors.
But
But for me, the time it
that
takes to get to
statistic
that answer.
Yeah, but that statistic drives me wild. It's such a wrong statistic. Because when they don't blow the whistle for an obvious foul, that doesn't get counted in the statistics because there wasn't a decision. So it's an absolute bullshit stat, a totally bullshit stat. And especially because, of course, it's gone up to 96%. You know why? Because quite often they don't blow up because they're thinking, oh, VAR will catch that.
Oh, that's the thing that bugs me more than anything else is the referees are now abdicating responsibility. They don't want to take responsibility on the field because they are convinced that VAR will pick it up and deal with it if there's a problem. And it just isn't. That's just not the way it works. It doesn't work like that.
So my idea is, bearing in mind that I don't think we'll be able to change grassroots football, is to improve the dialogue between clubs and referees, and to have a tribunal and a sort of joker system where clubs have the right to challenge 2 decisions per week after the facts. It's too late. It's already gone by. But, Thomas Frank should be going into an office with the referee and with VAR and saying, take me through why you did that. Maybe they won't change anybody's mind, but there will be that dialogue.
If that happened, then that's a good idea. What would be the benefit, or how would you address an egregious abrogation of fair play or the law by having this post-match tribunal? I mean, how would it benefit us?
It would benefit us because it would open the dialogue, because I don't think there's enough dialogue today between clubs and referees. So I don't think referees are improving with input from clubs. They're getting input from the Premier League and from the FA and so on in meetings and stuff like that. But I don't think there's an ongoing thing saying this hasn't been good enough, or this is the 6th time you've ruled against us in this kind of thing. I'm not saying it'll solve all the problems. So I just think there needs to be more dialogue.
Yeah, I don't think there is a way for us to solve the problems. It's something that's going to have to be taken at a much higher level than we could possibly imagine that we could ever have any influence on. But for me, it was the dampener on what was generally a good game. I thought, apart from the first 20 minutes, I thought we generally controlled the game. We were the better side. They didn't have many chances. There was that Paqueta chance early on, which wasn't bad. But beyond that, it really wasn't a game that they were going to have much of a chance in. And once Souček was sent off for that absolutely reckless challenge, it was just going to go one way. So, and I don't think I've seen a red card come out as quickly after a challenge as I have in that game. It was so quick.
Fair play to the referee. He got something right.
He got one. He got a big call right. Absolutely.
He didn't wait for that on that.
Let's have some fun and talk about the goals. Okay, so
Yeah.
we started off with the first one was a Xavi cross pinpoint corner onto the head of Pape Matar Sarr, who is a goal scoring machine right now. Scored some goals on international duty, scored for us in pre-season. Absolutely fantastic. I love this guy. Any complaints, anything to note from that, or was just all round love?
There
But
was
see, go ahead, Ashley.
yeah, there was just a slight thing. I heard that after the goal, the players looked towards the set piece coach,
Hmm.
and made some sort of gesture. So it was something that had been worked out. Why Sa ended up just standing by himself, So
Miles of space around him.
so it had been some sort of set play or whatever, maybe move all the players to one side and then
Hmm.
the defense goes there too, and then he's just standing there. It was fantastic. And as you said, Stu, he's a goal scoring machine. I love that guy.
We have started doing this thing where everybody stands to one side of a goal and then runs
Yeah,
across it as the set piece is being taken. It's very difficult to mark that kind of thing. And yeah, it's definitely worked out for us. I think everyone moved and perhaps I was just stood there. Okay, I'll take the header. Thank you very much.
It's
And no, it's a
extraordinary. Well,
really,
Graham
yeah.
Potter's not going to be manager of West Ham long, having them set up like that on set pieces. It's amateur hour. It's awful,
absolutely.
awful. I mean, having. I mean, I kept saying it. Carl Walker Peters. His head at, I don't know, just about shoulder level on Chris on QT Romero, and he was the
Yeah.
man marking QT Romero. It was a total mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely.
All match. It looked almost comical. No, I think I called it before the season. I said this was going to be Sarr's breakout year. I think he was absolutely fantastic the match. I mean, the only reason we're not talking about him so much is because somebody else was even more fantastic.
Absolutely.
Um, but two players, one's 23 today, I think, and the other's
Yep.
19 or 20. I mean, they're so
19.
young, and they completely ran that midfield. West Ham couldn't live with those two, and Palhinha.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Before we
Let's
go to
take a
the
minute to pass on our happy birthday wishes to Pat Matasar, who's 23 today, and also Dominic Solanke,
Oh,
his
right. I
birthday as
didn't know
well.
for
Yeah.
that.
before we go to the second goal, and it was for this particular game, and Frank changes for the games. Did you? All the corner kicks were being dropped. All our players were in the 6-yard box. It was like,
Hmm.
okay, let's do this today, and the corner kicks were being dropped right on the goalie's head, and I thought, man, that must have panicked them so much. And what 11 corner kicks I think we had, and they were all in the 6-yard box. It was, I don't know if he probably won't do it again, but he did it for this game, and it was very effective.
Oh, and just while we're on that, I thought the quality of the corners was great, but
Yeah,
from both sides, from Kudus as well. He
and
did really
Xavi
good
and
corners.
those
I
guys.
mean,
Yeah,
he should have had an assist in the first half.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
that's
but
right.
also, I think it's worth pointing out that Xavi getting an assist on his first game. I mean, he wasn't sort of transcendent in yesterday's match. Out on the left, I'm not sure whether that's his best position, but I thought he put in a good shift. It was perfectly serviceable, and he got an assist, so that's great. First match.
I think he had
Second,
some nice little touches, a
Yeah,
few runs with the ball. There
yeah,
was also a couple of moments where it just looked like he hadn't trained enough with the team because they weren't
yeah,
on the same wavelength.
yeah,
Some loose passes, shall we say?
yeah.
But it was good to see. I kind of always dreamed of having a Spurs player with the name Zavi on the back. I didn't think it was going to be him. I wanted the other Zavi, the previous Zavi, like because he was just that good and he was like such a Spurs type
Also,
player.
yeah.
Yeah, but this guy could definitely manage that and take that mantle. He's extremely good, and I've said it before. He was my number one player I wanted going into the transfer window. I'm so glad we got him
It's great.
because
But
he looks excellent.
he should be more central, shouldn't he? Right? He shouldn't be out there on the left.
For me, I think he should be more central.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the same kind of thing that Harry Redknapp did with Modric, is ease him into the game in one position, and then
Mm-mm.
after he's got used to the league and the rough and tumble side of it, move him into the middle where he's going to do a bit more
Yeah.
damage. But I said at half time that if it was me, I'd be moving Xavi into the centre. I'd be what? I'd be bringing on Odobert for the left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah, going from there.
Stu, who
And
would
also
you?
taking Polina off because I didn't think Polina was having a great game. I know Polina is one of those guys who does a lot of, stuff in the shadows, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I thought he was very good because he's the main defensive fulcrum in that midfield.
Yeah, I don't think
He,
you could have taken him out because then we would have left with Bergvall and Sarr if you're moving Xavi in, and who's gonna replace Polina doing in his on the ball, not off the ball, but on the ball work, which is defensive work. So yeah, if you do that, you anyway. If
Palhinha lets the others play, and it's not a
yeah,
very glamorous role.
it isn't. It isn't.
Um, and if you didn't notice him, then that's probably means that
Yeah.
he was playing really well.
Yeah, he won like the most duels and this and that and whatever, and probably he didn't have any forward passes further than 10 yards or something like that, but did the job and may not play on Tuesday because of wanting to rotate. Now we're going to get to the second goal now, right, aren't we?
Let's get to the second goal. So the second goal was a beautiful diagonal ball from Christian Romero, not Cristiano. I keep calling him Cristiano. Christian Cuti Romero, lovely pinged ball. Bergvall breaking the lines and just getting a lovely header on it that just absolutely beat the goalkeeper all ends up. There was something about it that kind of, I'm not sure who it reminded me more of. Was it Lampard or was it Gerrard? But I landed on Lampard. I thought the way he just took that run forward and just planted the header in, I thought, yeah, that's class.
Not
And
as fat though.
this kid, not as fat, no. This kid is something special. This kid
Yeah.
is really good. And when we signed him many years ago now, when he was 17 and wasn't even able to come to the club, I'd never heard of him. First I'd
No.
heard of him was when the deal had been done. So, I try and keep across European football. Nah, never heard of him.
What a
So,
signing.
what a signing he's been. What a signing he's been. He's
He
been
was
so good for
everywhere.
us.
He was
Yeah.
everywhere in that match. I'll raise my hand and say that when I saw the selection, I was a little bit disgruntled, not seeing a recognised striker at the top and rotating the midfield for a league match. Quite happy to eat my words completely on that subject. Thomas Frank completely proved me wrong, and I think, as you said, Ashley, it's horses for courses. He's managing the squad, he's managing the minutes, and although it might be difficult to keep Lucas out of the team if he keeps playing like that, because that was a real performance that he put in. He was everywhere.
Yeah, superb.
But by the way, just you mentioned Lampard, whatever. You know what that it was a magnificent header. You know what it reminded me of? One of our great short time heroes, Ericsson, 2 long passes against Chelsea and Dele Alli, both headers. It reminded me so because it was over the top type passes and Dele just rising up magnificently to score. And I went, that's what this young kid. Actually, Dele was not much older than that when he was in his prime. Dele,
Wasn't that the record yesterday? He's the youngest. Bergvall's the youngest player since Dele Alli to score for Spurs.
Since Bombi apparently.
I thought it was since Dele.
Bombi.
Yeah. Or maybe they said a
Okay.
goal and an assist. So Bombi was that guy.
Yeah, the goal and assist was Bombi. He's the youngest player to do a goal and assist for Spurs in the same game since Bombi.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a conundrum because I would like to see that guy start most games, and he was injured, and poor guy missed the Europa League final and the Super Cup. So he's got so much to play for, and where do we fit him in if Xavi, which is number 10, where do we fit our midfielders into that situation? Yeah, we do have lots of games, so
it's a fantastic problem to have, isn't it? Not knowing who we drop between, because we've got Bentancur as well. We've got Bentancur, we've got Zavi. We're going to have Decky. We're going to have Decky coming back in a few months. I mean, what a great problem to have.
Yeah, no, it's kind of screwed by the abundance of decent quality midfielders because whoever you leave out is probably rightly a little bit upset about it because they're probably going to be playing well enough to be involved somewhere. At least Kulusevski has, the option of playing over on the right. But then,
Over
of
on the
course,
right,
we've
yeah.
got Kudus there, who had
Who's
another good game.
Another great game, yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
got
great
kicked
game.
from pillar to post, by the way.
Kicked and booed.
Yeah.
It,
So
didn't he do one of those Rabona traps again?
yeah,
I think
he did again. That was very that did make me laugh when he did that.
It's amazing.
If you're
You
gonna
know,
pull it off, do it in a game against your old team. That's what you want to do.
you know, one a tactical thing. I'm not really a tactical guy, but one people who do watch it said one of the things we did different in this game than we did against Bournemouth is that we had Johnson on the left and Kudus was being double marked on the right in the Bournemouth game. In this game, by putting Xavi, and it might have been Frank thinking this out. First of all, I don't have a real striker I can put there. Richie can't play. Solanke's out. Who are we going to play there? But I'll put Tell there. Put Xavi on the left, so they couldn't double up on Kudus because they would have left Xavi open on that side. So that was some strategy going, you know what, we're going to have two wingers who can actually attack so that we don't get our main creative sources up there negated or neutralized. So I thought that was an interesting perception by somebody else. I mean, oh, okay.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
the main difference between Bournemouth and
Go on.
West Ham was that we scored first. And
I think the other thing is
yeah.
Bournemouth came into it with a game plan, and West Ham didn't really seem to have much of an idea of what they were going to do at all.
Yeah, there's a gulf in quality between West
Massive
Ham and
gulf.
Bournemouth. I mean,
Quality of player, quality of manager. There's so much difference. Yeah. I had a chat with Sincere FC. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but I did a chat with Sincere FC, and we talked about Xavi coming in and Tottenham's preponderance for playing down the right-hand side, which was very, very high. Something like 62% of our play went down the right-hand side in the first few games. And this was the first game where we had more passes going down the left than the right, because we had somebody else taking some of the creative burden off of Kudus.
It was quite interesting because Porro was much less advanced on the right than he has been in other matches. He's let Kudus do the right wing and Porro not as advanced. Whereas I think Xavi moved inside quite a lot, and Spence got into some fantastic positions. And I thought Spence had a very good game on the whole, but I felt like his final ball was a bit poor. I'm fine. I'm looking for things to nitpick. I thought Spence had a good game, very very attacking game, and again gave them nothing defensively. But I was a bit disappointed by his final ball some of the time.
He is a right-footed player, so that unfortunately that is a bit of a problem. Being on the left. Same thing with Johnson as well. By the way, top goal scorer from last season is not a regular starter.
Yeah. Almost surplus to needs right now, isn't he? Because where do you fit him in? I mean, if you're not going to play him down the left, which apparently is where Xavi's going to be playing, then the option is the right, where Kudus is our main creative force.
Can I ask a naive question?
You may.
Was he not being saved for Tuesday?
Oh, maybe. You think he's going to be able to perform against Villarreal?
Don't know. I assumed that he didn't. That Zavi played on the left and not Johnson because Johnson is earmarked for Tuesday night. But I'm probably wrong.
I thought it was very nice that we managed to get ourselves in a position where we could take players off and rest them, or not put so much of a demand on them ahead of the Champions League game. Because is it all the goal scorers came off?
Yes, but should we not have rotated the defense a bit earlier in this match? Made some changes.
Absolutely, Danso should have come in earlier and rest up even Van de Ven, because those hammies are still there. He's still got the same hammies.
Yeah, because I think we've got an abundance in midfield and attack now, but we're still, we're still like when you're 3-0 up after how many minutes was it? 70 minutes.
72 minutes.
72 minutes.
Yeah,
73 minutes you take off QT and you take off Van der Ven, you put on Ben Davis and you put on Kevin Danso, and you give them 20 minutes to warm down.
Absolutely.
I'm just looking for
things
open
the doors up a bit for Bowen though. Bowen loves that kind of stuff. Bowen's a bit of a menace, and
True.
maybe
True.
they didn't
I
want to
like
give
Bowen.
him.
Yeah, I like Bowen. Yeah.
He's far too
I
good
don't
for
like
West Ham.
Bowen. I appreciate him as a player, but I don't like Bowen.
He is far too good for West Ham.
He's far
Yeah.
too good for West Ham. Yeah, he'll be a player who transfers out when they go down. I am convinced that they're going to go down this year because, as far as I'm concerned, they're the worst team I've seen play this season, and we played Burnley. They were
Burnley was so
significantly worse
unlucky
than Burnley.
today.
Yeah, Burnley got
95th
close.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay, third goal.
Third goal. So it's a little. Well, again, this came from Bergvall. Bergvall was in the box with the ball, tried a little something. Ball fell loose from a slightly sloppy touch from him, and yeah, he goes again. Mickey van der Ven on the ball, Bosch into the net. Nice, easy goal.
All right. No,
What was he doing that far forward?
Yeah, Dave's not going to like this, but all three of the goals were from either directly or second phase from set pieces. All three of them, including why was Van der Ven up there? Because we had a corner.
Hang on, no. Bergvall's goal wasn't second phase.
Yes, it was, because it was a free kick after the red card.
It was
deep. It was deep from deep in his own half, to be fair.
But I don't have anything against set pieces at all. I think it's a great way of getting goals, and I think engineering is great. What I don't like is long throws, and the reason I don't like long throws is because, especially as yesterday it was raining, and so you start seeing the beginning of the problem with long throws. During the summer long throws, they just pick the ball up and give it a long throw. In the winter, they pick the ball up and they spend 5 fucking minutes with a hairdryer and then a towel and then curling tongs, drying the ball and getting it ready, and then they finally take the throw on. I just don't think throwing should take that long. It's awful for the game. It's awful. I know everybody likes it because it's I know I'm in the minority, so fair enough, I'll shut my mouth, but you're going to see it. It was wet yesterday, and those long throws were taking forever. They take forever.
Frank calls them restarts, and that includes throw-ins, corners, and free kicks. And
goal kicks as well, restarts.
All three goals resulted as a result of a restart or shortly after the restart. That third goal was a corner. That's why Van der Ven was still up there. It went out, but it didn't go out that far, then came back in, and that's what he was doing. Polino passed the ball to Bergvall, and then he sort of tripped on the ball, and it went right to Van der Ven, who was totally open again. The West Ham defense.
Yeah, a bit of a soft shoe shuffle from Bergvall. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was lovely, actually. He almost actually pulled it off. But,
he did.
At the same time, although I am delighted with the with scoring from set pieces, and I think you alluded to this in the title of this podcast today. I don't want us to become, a set piece team. I want it to be part of our armory, but I do feel like the little thing, and I'm not really worried about it because yesterday we didn't have a striker on the pitch, like a true striker, a true senior experienced striker. So it's not surprising, but I would like to see more or better approach play than we showed yesterday. I think, and like I said, I think some of that is because you don't have that big number 9 up there, causing loads of trouble.
No, Dave, you're right. But we didn't have Xavi there in the middle either, or Decky or Madison. So obviously Frank's going, well, I don't have that, so don't have the number 9, don't have the number 10. Let's do it another way, including Cudi Romero's superb. Did we mention that? His superb.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
it's a lovely ping.
I thought actually, because I'm not digging out Mattis Tell, I don't think that's necessarily, not at this stage in his career, his best position. I don't think he's mature enough, and don't think he's strong enough. But I thought he showed a lot of heart yesterday, because I think he got clattered very early on, and he was really struggling. And I think he was probably struggling for most of that game actually, and he stayed on all the way up until the whatever it was, into a minute. And I thought that shows a lot of heart.
Yeah, I was surprised he came out for the second half with Richarlison and Kolo Muani on the bench. I was surprised that he didn't get taken off.
Yeah.
A apparently Harry Kane had said, I heard this today, that when Tell was at Bayern, he was saying the guy would just put himself about. He worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
So that's a basic bottom line. Let's hope he grows into it, whatever position we have him on the team. Of course, he's not going to be playing in Europa, but you'll get other games to play in.
Well,
that
no
was
one's
also
going to be playing in
good
Europa.
That was also good man management from Thomas Frank, by the way, which I think was like, I've left you out of the Champions League squad. I'm playing you. You're starting on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have looked at any of the stats, but our XP, if you were to base the league on XP, we would be around 10th. If you were to base the league on expected goals against, XG and expected goals against, then we would be 11th. So we're very much mid-table in the statistics, which is kind of strange because when we were under Ange, we were second or third in those kind of statistics, except now we're actually in third place in the league, or joint second, I think. One goal conceded all season, of only 3 clubs in the league that have only conceded 1 goal this season.
Yeah.
I think we're putting the building blocks in place for what will be coming along later. I think it's a case of getting the defense right. It's a case of making sure that we're hard to beat, and that the free kicks and the set pieces, the restarts, as Ash would say, is what gets us the wins on the board. And I cheekily named this episode, "Are we becoming set piece FC, or are we set piece FC?" I'm not really against that right now. I will be a little bit disappointed if we're still relying heavily on set pieces to win games in March, April, May. But I think getting this in early and having it as a weapon is not the worst thing in the world.
I tell you what, I always used to dig you out about stats when you were your copium stats from last season. But I tell you what, I much prefer hearing that our stats are shit, but we're high up the table playing well, than looking at us at 17th place. But hey, we put in more tackles than West Brom or something.
Guys, we might be 11th, but we really should be second.
And I think we're good value for our position, because we're really, really hard to beat, and we're dangerous.
So to your point, Dave, it belies, because I'm not a stat guy either. I don't even know what they mean, or I don't want to know what they mean. And it belies that if we're, good value for where we are, who cares about the stats? Frank is figuring it out,
But it's such a joy having someone that, in fact, I guess we'll see. We'll see over the course of the season. But these first matches have shown me something that was a little source of worry, and I think it was for you as well, Stu, which was at Brentford, he never really had to worry about Europe. So he never had to worry about 2 matches a week and things like that. And there's 2 questions around that. The first one, I think he's starting to answer, which is that he's showing that he will rotate and can rotate, and rotate effectively, not rotating like we did in last season, the season before, which has changed 9 players and almost lose to Cambridge, but actually making sort of adjustments. Okay, not without criticism, because I think he could have taken off the defenders earlier yesterday. But I understand what you mean, Stuart, about Bowen. He's so dangerous. The second thing is, the next question is, Thomas Frank does a lot of really good preparation and detailed preparation. He sets his team up for each match. Will he have the time to do that when they're coming Thursdays and Wednesdays, sort of Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and Saturdays and Sundays, if that makes sense? When he's only got 3 days turnaround, will he be able to do the same level of preparation? And we're going to find that out, I guess. That's the next question.
Good question.
There's an interview by Michael Carrick talking to Thomas Frank up on YouTube right now. You can watch. It's for the Prime Video, because the Villarreal game is on Prime, and they were talking about it then. They were saying basically, what is it like when you've only got 2 days effectively of training before a match? And you've got to remember, Sunday will be they'll go in and they'll do it's rest or recovery time. They'll go in, they'll do some stretches and a little bit of light running, but they're not going to be doing anything particularly heavy. Then you've got Monday, which is the only day they're actually going to be doing any training, because Tuesday they're getting on a plane and heading out to Spain
Tuesday.
to go watch the match. Oh no, so it's at home, isn't it? So they, well,
Oh yeah,
they still won't
playing
do anything on Tuesday.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
So one day of training.
one day of training, and he was saying it's extremely difficult to be able to get prepared and everything. If you're doing your preparation, it needs to be in the other games before the other games almost been played. So
Dave, good point.
Tough.
But another thing I've noticed is that he has a huge backroom staff, and they've all got like tablets and whatever. And I bet you he's I know David Weeksy is going to ask this question, so we've got this covered, because I bet you they do. That, while they
but the thing is, you can have all the tablets and whiteboards you want, but if you don't have the players in front of you or on the pitch to show them what to do, then it doesn't matter.
I hope we
won't, but materially you can't. As Stu just explained, they'll only have one day. I think the solution is, have you ever heard of batch cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah, batch cooking is like when you prepare your week's food on the Sunday, and then you have like lots of, it's not just putting stuff in the freezer for Wednesday night, it's having lots of little base sauce and some rice and stuff like that. You're going to put it together to make different meals each time. If Thomas Frank has been intelligent, what he's doing is he's showing them different moves and different tactical details week in, week out, on and on and on. And then what he's saying is, when they've only got Monday to go over stuff again, I'm taking the chimichurri sauce, and I'm taking the steak out of the fridge, but you know how to cook them, you know how to put them together already, because we've already worked on that. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, actually, I was about to say what you just said, is that while we're preparing for West Ham, they're actually preparing for Villarreal as well.
Yeah.
And it possibly in the way you just said, batch cooking.
Yeah.
In regards to your comment about the iPads and stuff like that, it just takes me back. I used to work as an outdoor activity instructor, and we had to do qualifications for climbing up trees and things like that. And I was on an assessment once, and there's another guy there called Noodles. It's not his real name, but we'll call him Noodles. And he turned up, and he had his own harness on and his very expensive winter coat, and it wasn't even winter, but it's very expensive winter coat, and all of his metal work and stuff. And you were supposed to use the centers harnesses and the centers metal work. Anyway, the guy who was examining us and doing the assessment comes up, and he picks it up, comes over, and he looks at his stuff, and he takes one piece of metalwork and drops it, and he says, "You don't need that." Another piece of metalwork, drops it. "You don't need that." Just carries it, just rips this guy apart. And he turns to me and he's got all the gear but no idea. And I think, you can have all the gear but no idea. And I think Thomas Frank's got both. He's got a clear idea of what he wants to do, and he's got the facilities and the amenities to back it all up. And it's going to be interesting to see where he takes us. I think batch cooking is a really nice little thing that we can think of, because I think that is absolutely what needs to be happening. And again, you can't batch cook everything in a week. It has to be done over a certain amount of time.
Yeah, hopefully he's been doing this since pre-season and on the tours, and it's been an ongoing thing. And you're
let's
right.
hope the base is on a solid defense and a decent set piece attacking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a bit like getting your actually, it's personal. It's personal hygiene. First of all, you washing your armpits and your ass and your balls. And after that, you start thinking about shaving or having a handlebar moustache and stuff like that. But getting the basics right first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my batch cooking one was better, wasn't it? Yeah.
Batch cooking was better, but okay. Okay, we do have some other things to talk about, but before we go any further, if you've got this far, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. Let us know what you've liked about this video or previous videos if you watched those as well, and we'll do our best to get back to you. Other things we do need to talk about. Some fairly big stuff has happened since we last talked, guys. The end of the January transfer window. Certain departure of a little man with a big head and a bald head. How do we feel about it? Daniel Levy went. I was absolutely shocked. We have talked about this so many times about what the future could be without Daniel Levy. And I always thought, well, no Daniel Levy means no ENIC. But now we've got ENIC without Daniel Levy. And that's just, it's a strange new world for me.
The image yesterday, the first post-Levy game of him not sitting there, not smiling, bald head, glasses, And this whole new crew in there. It was very different, and hopefully it's a positive thing. This difference is a positive thing. More investment, more money, more footballing decisions made, not just business decisions. That's what I mean about better, Let's hope.
Well,
David?
I think Danny Levy's leaving an absolutely stellar
Sure.
uh,
Conditions
behind him. What he's done is extraordinary. And I think, honestly, I think we should be more grateful to him than we should be, despite his missteps, because there have been missteps. Saha, Nelson, and getting rid of Keane and bringing in Gregor Raziak and or Fraser Campbell, all these sorts of things. You can all lay them at his feet, but I mean, the simple fact is, we were a near relegation candidate season after season. The seasons were over in February before Danny Levy came in. And he turned the club around, and for that I will forever be grateful to him. He's put us on an amazing footing. He fired Harry Redknapp, saying Harry Redknapp's not the person to take us on to the next level. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I think that Danny Levy was also not the person to take us on to the next level. He got us there or thereabouts, and thank you. Fantastic job. For the last 5 or 6 years, we've stagnated, and it was time for change. I'm delighted that the change has not come in the form of oil money. And from the statement, which I don't know whether that statement is really, you needn't offer us enough money, but they said the club is not for sale. And everybody's saying that this Lewis's daughter and son-in-law, is it?
Yeah.
It's Vivian Lewis, and I believe her son-in-law.
Her son-in-law.
Yeah.
Nick.
They sound like they want to be putting money, and they sound like they want to be putting money into the club as well and making it develop. So all that's really positive. Vinay comes across as a great guy, despite his previous poor associations. So yeah, I feel like we're in good hands, and I had the same worry as you, Stu. Better the devil you know. Well, maybe we're going to find out that the new devil is all right, actually.
I compare it to Winston Churchill, great wartime prime minister, but during peacetime, not so great. We were in a bad way. Like, I don't want to get sued by Alan Sugar, like Jamie Redknapp apparently is going to be, but
Is he?
Well, Sugar said he's going to be getting his lawyers in contact with Sky Sports, but
Suing Jamie Redknapp.
Suing Jamie Redknapp for saying Jamie Redknapp said that the club was a complete basket case when Alan Sugar left, and he said, my lawyers will be contacting Sky Sports on Monday morning. So I don't wish to get sued by him, but allegedly.
Oh, sorry, I should have said that we'll get sued now, won't we?
Allegedly, he's a thin-skinned dick. But allegedly, things weren't great. I think a lot of us know that there was a lack of investment in the side and the club as a general rule, mainly because I don't think Alan Sugar felt the love, and I don't really blame him because there weren't a lot of people that were in love with him. But he came into, there was a poor training ground. They were still working out of porter cabins by the sound of it. The club, the stadium was not in its greatest shape, needed a lot of work, needed either complete renovation or knocking down and starting again. And they went through the knocking down and starting again. And what Daniel Levy has done for the club is he has built us up. He got all the ground he needed to, the land he needed to build the stadium. He then went and built the damn stadium. He got the training ground done, despite opposition. He's got permission for a new hotel, which will be going up. All of these things are going to be working to benefit Tottenham Hotspur, maybe Tottenham Hotspur PLC, but definitely Tottenham Hotspur in the future. And the other thing that people complain about is, concerts and F1 kart tracks and stuff like that. Okay, but they don't really hurt the club. They don't hurt the club, do they?
No. The problem was that that unforgivable transfer window with zero investment. A is here.
A has joined us. A's got something to say as well. How you doing, A?
Well, let's let A speak since he's joined us, and I'll come back in afterwards.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to
No,
wait my
you
turn.
did. I took that raised hand as a threat that you were going to slap me if I didn't shut up.
I think it would have been
I
a
took the race
different
hand as there were three
gesture.
too many fingers showing. But...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would have been different. How's it, guys? How are you guys doing?
Good,
Good,
thanks,
eh? How
man.
you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay.
What are you gonna say?
Sorry, beg your pardon.
No,
What I got to say is, yeah, I was like the analogy I'd like to use is like some people build their empire, some people get given it by daddy, and then some people win the lotto. We built an empire.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. You have to, even Sugar, I'll give him his flowers because he took over from Scholar, which was a lot worse.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. So that was first phase. And you're not great. Nobody's great in, and I think all of them deserve their credit, and Daniel Levy definitely deserves credit. I think he took us as far as he could, but with somebody being there 24 years, things change, and sometimes they pass you by in that period. And while he's been amazing, I think some of the things he's gambled on, like the finance stuff having teeth, the PSR rules and things, and I don't think he's he took into account the fact that some clubs will be able to still get around it and things like that. And he probably thought he was positioning us in the best place for success. But he had a couple of failings, or he's not cut out for certain things. And I think he's just reached the best that he could do with us. So if we want to move on, then you do need change.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for him, grateful for Sugar saving the club. And then, but now it's the time to kick on. And that's it for me.
I think it's interesting that since Levy has left the club, we've had an interview with Vinod Venkatesham. We've also seen an interview with Johan Langer, and suddenly we're seeing a lot more, football related content coming out of the club from people at the top end. And hopefully that's going to continue, giving us a bit more insight in what is happening at the top end of the club, because Daniel Levy was not exactly well known for talking to journalists or getting involved. Obviously, he has just done the interview with Gary Neville, but I genuinely think he knew what was coming. I genuinely think he knew that his time at the club was coming to.
You'll miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I genuinely think he knew his time was about to come to an end, and he wanted to go out having given an interview and given his side of things.
I'd just like to say about the financial fair play thing. I don't think he could have done any differently than what he did. I mean, you had to believe that financial fair play would work, and I don't think Joe Lewis was going to put money in any case. So we had to build organically in any case. And I think actually that's one of the things that people don't take into account with why it took Tottenham so long to get where they are. I think they had maybe a 10-year plan planning to get there. But unfortunately, shortly after they took over, first Chelsea won the lottery, as you say, and then Manchester City won the lottery. And those two clubs probably really messed with ENIC's plans. They really messed with their plans, because all of a sudden we're fighting on an entirely different landscape, and people were playing dirty. People were playing dirty. I mean, Chelsea, they've just, was it 75 charges for agents' fees from 2009 to 2022? And I wrote in CADS about, when they were buying every single young talent in the country and in Europe and Africa. And they had 50 players out on loan, and I'm pretty sure that they were just giving money out to families. Yeah, bring your kid here, bring your kid here. What does that mean? It means that talent couldn't come to the Tottenham Academy. It's not there to develop. So why did we suddenly have this huge gap after the Kane and Townsend and people in that generation and Mason? After that, suddenly there's this huge gap where we've got no one coming through. And we always say our academy must have been shit. But I don't think it was. I don't think the players were there to develop. They were all down Chelsea way and out on loan everywhere. It was an insane situation, and that should have been dealt with. Yeah, the absolute supine nature of Premier League's dealing with financial irregularities and general cheating, absolute cheating, is a real shame, and I think it really set ENIC back a long way, a really long way. So there you go. I'll get off my soapbox now.
The other thing that didn't help was COVID, because we were starting to get somewhere again, and then suddenly we're hit by COVID. You know,
yeah, but everybody's hit by COVID.
Everybody's hit by COVID, but we had, it's at the same time we just opened our stadium.
Yeah,
and it should have been this, you know, riotous. I really shouldn't use the word riotous currently. This joyful expression, this celebration of you know, change and everything stepping forward, and suddenly we're playing in empty stadiums and with soundtracks. You know, it was very, very difficult, I think, for the club to get beyond that. There are definitely things that Daniel Levy did wrong, and I think people have made a long list, and we could go through that now, but I don't really want to. But he certainly did a lot that's taken the club a long way forward. But I think what's happened is that they've taken the power from someone who was extremely business focused and extremely property focused, and given that power to people who are more football focused at a time when we need to be more football focused, because the property side of things has been done, the business side of things has been done, you know. So suddenly we're looking at doing football things and having an impact there. And if we can have the same kind of impact with football people in charge as we did with business people in charge, then we may just be doing something in the future.
Yeah, good. Agree.
All right. I think we're going to call it a day there, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to leave you one quick question. With the January transfer window closing and Xavi coming in, who is the best midfielder at the club right now?
Summer transfer window closing.
Yeah, summer transfer window closing. Sorry. Yeah. Summer transfer window has closed.
I'm going to say
the best
Sarr.
midfielder? Sarr. Okay. So we've got one vote for Sarr. David?
Yeah. We don't have Moussa Dembele anymore, do we?
We've got his regen playing over on the right wing.
Yeah, okay. It could well be Sarr, actually. I think I might have to agree with A, much as it pains me. Yeah, why not?
Ash, what are you saying?
What was the exact question? Sorry.
Who's the best midfielder at the club right now?
Oh, Bergvall.
Okay, so we're going to have 2 votes for Sarr, 2 votes for Bergvall. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got this far in the video, please, you know, just say below who you think the best midfielder at the club is. And we're going to call it in there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Ash, David, A, and everybody watching. We'll see you again soon. We'll be back after the Brighton game. And until then, come on, you Spurs.
Pundits just chuckle, ignore them alas. The CADS chat shit. To the left and the right, we're taking a hit, so you know it's true. Hear the banter ignite. Raise your voice loud, shout it out tonight. The CADS chat shit. We'll sing it again with a smile and a grin. Oh, here's to the boys, let's make it a trend. With a wink and a nudge, let the fun never end.